Hello, my friends. Thank you so much for spending this time with me tonight. And I wanted to share my thoughts about a quality that I feel that is very important to cultivate within ourselves and amongst each other, and that is compassion. Compassion is what allows for us to do acts of kindness coming from a universal heart and not just projecting what we think is right, but to be truly present. And in order for this to make sense, I want to talk about some reasons as to why we may not be as compassionate with ourselves and with other beings, other individuals. And it really boils down to the same reasons. One of them is just overload, just fatigue, overload, the constant bombardment of what we hear in the media and in the news can make you just want to shut down. But in that shutting down, there's a closing off of the heart. So when this happens, take a breather. It's okay to take a step back, but don't shut down. And begin to fill your heart, or if you see another being, another person, or even, I guess I also work with animals too, are overloaded, giving yourself or that other being what they need to just lighten their hearts, to just not feel the crush of the world on them. Some peace, and sometimes just solitude. You just plain getting away from everyone and everything for a bit of time, and just so you can just breathe, is sufficient to begin to allow your heart to gently open again. Another major block is dehumanization, or what I like to call is just turning another being into an object. So, because for me, acts of compassion are not just limited from person, human being to human being, to be compassionate with all living beings, animals, even having a kind heart towards our environment. But the minute that you turn yourself or another person into an object, you take away that soul, then this type of shutting of the heart creates very harsh judgments to such a degree that the judgment can be that yourself or this other being is not worthy of care or love, that they're not capable of appreciating what you're offering them, and just not worth the investment of time. When this begins to happen, the way of beginning to open the heart is literally seeing through another's eyes. And what I would share is that if you're going to walk with compassion, empathy is critical. So let me incorporate that into this discussion. Empathy is that ability to feel, sometimes it's the emotions, and you can feel it maybe in your body. Or I will include in this being able to think as the other being would think. And it's not with the idea of trying to persuade them or what have you. No. This idea of empathy is so that once you can walk in their moccasins, once you can begin to grasp what this other individual is going through, then you can see how their line of thought went. It doesn't matter if it was correct or not. I'm just talking about how did they get from here to there. And you're wanting to help them in wanting to have compassion and opening of the heart is that understanding. What would happen if you're somebody who is having financial hardship? What would happen if you were, some being where the person or even that animal companion that you love has a serious illness? What would happen if? So, and that's what happens is and it's not, oh, well, I would do this. Initially, put yourself to the side and just begin to understand. It doesn't mean that you become them. It doesn't mean that you have to take everything on. Remember, there is boundaries. But the point is that when you are interacting with this other individual, that you're meeting them where they live. And once this happens, it does marvelous things. It expands your perceptions. It expands your understanding. Because there is no ego. Yes, there is the sense of self and the other, but there is no ego here. The one who's on the receiving end can feel safe. They can feel that they're heard, that they're seen, and that with that alone, they don't feel the need as much to shut down or to hide, because you're not coming in trying to ram an agenda down their throats, or that, oh, you think you understand, but you don't. So as you do this, part of the way that you can show this, and another step of compassion, is listening. Really, really listening. Not with the idea of what am I going to say next. No. Listen. Listen with your entire being. Not only with your ears, with your heart. Look at their body language. Grasp the situation that they are coming from. And part of demonstrating that you are truly listening is asking a question. Asking questions that show I am paying attention to the details of your situation. Or doing a gesture that shows, again, I'm thinking of an animal, that if you're working with an animal, obviously you can't ask them a question. I mean, you can, but it's not a Disney movie, folks. It's not like they're going to talk back to you in that way. But even if you do a kindness of gesture to an animal that lets them know, I respect that you are afraid. I respect that you need just space. So when you're doing these simple things, that in and of itself is the beginning of compassion. But I want to go further. I know that some folks would say that compassion is a passive activity, and I hardly disagree. Compassion is dynamic. People can't feel it unless if they are shown it. And I will say something for myself. I try my best to live by these practices, to make sure that I'm in a good space, to be empathic with the other individual, to show that I'm truly listening with every fiber of my being. And then asking, how may I help? So again, with that act of compassion, you're giving that other individual what they truly need. And even if they can't express it, again, asking, I feel that you could use a hug. Is that okay? And they just might go, yes. Then you give them a hug. So simple things, acts of kindness, holding space, standing up for injustice. Compassion is action. And it requires for you to go beyond yourself. So yes, practicing self-compassion is important, because it's true. If you can't love yourself, if you can't respect yourself, then why should anybody else? But by extension, if you were just about the Mimi parade, I'm just going to honor and respect myself, and I'm just going to project what I think onto you because that's going to be the way it's going to go, guess what? Game over. No. So compassion of self and compassion of others is giving them what they need. It is being dynamic. It is a practice. It is a way of living. So if you want to think about it this way, gratitude and compassion are twins. If you walk with a thankful heart, it lets you be open to what is possible, of the good things that are already there, the good things to build on. If you go with its twin, compassion helps you to extend that gratitude into an offering of universal love as an act of courage when you stand up for those who have no voice. And it creates a circle. That's the way I like to think about it. You have, again, those two things. So that's what I wanted to share with you, that now more than ever, we need to reach beyond ourselves. In the teachings of the Good Red Road, we say that the Great Spirit created a tapestry of life known as the Dreamweave. Each of us is a strand. Every living creature, the land, everything is part of this dream of life and of existence. And when you choose to use these qualities, because each of us within this Dreamweave, I like to think of it like strings on a musical instrument. Each of us having a note and a quality. But if we use what I shared with you today with this compassion, then the notes become sweet. They're like the notes on a harp or a guitar. Pick a musical instrument that you enjoy. And the strings are in key. Each string, each one of us, has a special way of being. We can produce a sweet note or a sour one. But if we work in concert, what a beautiful song of the planets. What a beautiful song that we could weave together. What a gorgeous tapestry of life we can create. But just like any weaving, weaving requires care. Weaving requires work. And truly paying attention to what is going on within you and around you. So with this, my friends, I thank you so much. And what I would say to you is, if you found this video useful, please give it a like, comment, a share. As always, when you subscribe, it helps me so much. And that way you'll be notified. But more than anything else, it helps to spread the positivity. And we really need that right now. So until we have the pleasure of being with each other again, my friends, I thank you, Wanishi. Thank you so much. And bright blessings. Until the next time that we're together.